It's about that time of day again, folks. Welcome back, welcome back. My name is Joseph James here, live with my partner in crime and colleague, Marty Errico. Don't forget Marty Errico and his partner, Jeffrey. They run a great broadcast every morning over at tradersaudio.com. Check them out at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Joseph James. I'm from SchoolOfTrade.com. You can head over and check me out every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time with our live trade room. And welcome to our crude oil morning prep. This morning we're going to go through a very unique and very powerful way to prepare and start your day. I'm going to start here in Los Angeles in my home office looking at computer screens, and we're going to go all the way across the country to the NYMEX exchange, where I've got Marty and his partner Jeffrey on the floor of the NYMEX exchange. Going to be finishing up the prep today from the floor. Starting first of all, though, once again, I'm a technical analyst. I'll be looking at charts. I'm going to start today with a top-down approach. Top-down approach means I'm going to use a slower time frame first and moving all the way down to a faster time frame after I'm done. I'm going to analyze what's happened overnight. I'll take a look at what's happened over the past few hours, and we'll try to anticipate the direction at the open. I know if I can anticipate direction at the open, I can find high percentage trading opportunities, and we'll begin looking for them today as of 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Now, we do have a little wrinkle in that, right? We do have news at 8:30 this morning, so I'll be talking about that in just a few moments. But on average, though, we'll be looking for trades as early as 8 a.m. Eastern Time, right? So a few more minutes here, and we'll be looking for trades today. Now, once I'm done with you, I'm going to move you all the way from Los Angeles. We're going to go from the screen all the way to the trading floor. I've got Marty Errico, a fellow School of Trade member. He's providing us with our pit analysis, and of course, he'll look at market direction. Very important intermarket divergence, crude oil, RBOB gasoline, heating oil, and Brent crude, right? Certain things lead others. We'll talk about market internals, option prices, and those always important pit session trading levels. Those pit session trading levels are a little bit different than the levels that we use on our screens. So be aware of that. Marty's going to be talking about some very important information that a lot of us screen traders just simply don't have access to. Alrighty, let's get started. Now that we know the plan today, let's jump right in this morning. The first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at the news this morning. We begin this morning on our blog. I want to remind you guys, head over to sidewaysmarkets.com, and on the sidewaysmarkets.com blog, you'll see a link up top here called the Crude Oil Squawk and Prep, and that's where you'll go to grab all of your charts here for crude oil prep. Moving forward, open up the news worksheet this morning. We always begin the day with a morning prep. Our morning prep will always go something like this. What day of the week is it? What week of the month? What month of the year? What day of the week? Friday. This ain't your average Friday, but I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. What week of the month is it? It's the fourth week. Oh, actually, it's now the first week of the month. What month are we talking about? The month of August. Perfect. So we know this is the first Friday of the month of August. Now, think about this, and let's think backwards. The month of August, what do we have to know about that? It's a summertime month. What does a summertime month tell me? It tells me that price action will be a little bit inconsistent from time to time. It tells me that when we don't have any news, I need to be careful, right, because price action will usually be slower. I know that in the month of August and any summertime months, at any moment the price action can dry up, and I need to be aware of that. I need to be aware that we're not going to get those late morning and those early morning moves. It's going to be consolidated into that main 8 till 11:30 time. Okay, so the month of August tells me a little bit inconsistent, right? A little bit lower volume from time to time. Not too big of a concern, but we need to be aware of it. The first week of the month, no real red flags there, right? If it was the third week of the month, we'd be dealing with OPEX. If it was the fourth week of the month or last week of the month, we'd be dealing with end of month. Now, we are dealing with the beginning of the month, right? So there will be a lot of opportunities coming in at the beginning of the month. A lot of traders, especially for crude oil, natural gas, gold, they're coming in out of necessity at the beginning of the month, right? Trying to get their numbers in line for the rest of the month. And then we look at the last big clue here, and that is Friday. Fridays always remind us, get in and get out. Take that money and run. Friday mornings are a very different animal. We usually have great Fridays, but they are gone in an instant, right? It never seems to last very long on a Friday, and when you add that into a summertime month, now that is even more magnified. So we know this morning is a summertime Friday, right? Think about that for a moment. What would the average person like to do on a summertime Friday? They'd like to hit the barbecue grill rather than going to the office, right? They'd rather gas up the boat than go into the market. So we have a feeling that on a summertime Friday, because human beings are pretty predictable, we have a feeling that it's going to be lower volume on a summertime Friday. So that's the way we look at a summertime Friday. A little bit inconsistent, a little bit less volume. It makes sense. People will use this summertime Friday as an excuse to get a long weekend. All right? Just like you and I wish we could. All right? No, I'm kidding with you. I'd rather be here with you guys. Now, let's look at the news that applies now. Now that we know the scenario today, now think about the news. Whoa, 2 Red Star news events right out the gate. So this goes and throws a little bit of a switch on the summertime Friday. Now we have Red Star news events. And that tells us that, well, as we always say, a Red Star news day means higher volume, higher volatility, more trading opportunities. Look at this week. Been a great example. We've had some great volatility the last 72 hours, right? Red Star news events. So this morning we have a Red Star news event, and this Red Star news event tells me I should be ready for added volume, added volatility, added opportunities at 8:30 this morning. The fact that we have a summertime Friday tells us low volume, inconsistency, get out early. This simply tells us today we better be aware that we're going to get the best opportunities early morning this morning. We've got factory orders at 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, I'm going to say right now, probably after 10:30, we're going to see this market personality really get challenging. It's going to really get difficult. So in my trade room today, we'll be trading after 8:30 a.m. and we'll be looking for trades through 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, there's nothing preventing me from trading before 8:30, but we don't really have much price action right now. If that does change, though, we will be able to participate. But just be aware, though, the employment situation is the, right, non-farm payrolls. Non-farm payrolls is the big news event, right? It's the premier news event we get as day traders. It's the biggest one we get. It's bigger than FOMC. It's bigger than GDP. It's bigger than everything else. This is the granddaddy of news. Everybody will be watching. Everyone will be trying to participate. So it's probably going to be too sloppy before we get to 8:30. And then one more comment. After we see non-farm payrolls released, there's a very high likelihood we're going to have to wait at least 10 minutes after that news is released. The reason being, because it's such an important news event, if it comes out above or below expectations, if it surprises us, it's going to be way too volatile. You'll have to wait for it to calm down. But if the employment situation number, if the non-farm payrolls number comes out as expected, price action will have already priced in this news, and we will most likely slop and chop for the next 5, 10, 15 minutes before we find a new direction. So it's either one of two scenarios. We either come in as expected and we sit sideways for a little bit after the news, we wait for a trend, and then we trade that trend. The second scenario is it comes out above or below expectations, it catches everybody off guard, it sends the market into panic mode, and all we get is this big, right, volatile market. We got to wait now, right, for it to calm down, wait for it to find its direction, and then start to trade in that direction. So either way you slice it, guys, today after 8:30, I'm looking at about 10, 15 minutes after 8:30 before we're going to start getting our best price action. And then I've got 10 o'clock news to follow. After 10 o'clock news, again, after 10:30 today, guys, we're really going to be watching that price action closely. So keep a close eye on the time. Now that we know the outline for today, right, this is a very important part of our day. The price action is going to be relatively easy. All we have to do is find direction and then trade in that direction. Now that we know what is most likely to be the scenario as far as market personality, the scenario as far as what the timing is going to look like today, now that we know what to expect, now we can plan our day around that. Moving forward, here's an anchor chart of crude oil. This is a 2584 tick. Members, this is a fractal of my entry time frame. And of course, we'll go over this every morning in our morning prep in our live trade room. Now, what do we notice here? Well, first of all, we can see right away there's that July 19th highs at 108.93. we kind of laughed about it yesterday morning when I said, yeah, I could easily see us retesting those highs. Well, here we are. Remember, this is crude oil we're trading. This is not the S&P. This is good old crude. Crude will move. It will move well. So we've seen this big run up, right? This big run up. Not catching us off guard. This has been happening for the past 2 full days. Now we know we've got a channel. We know we've got major support. This is going to be my slowest anchor chart. So basically what I'm using this for is for direction. And right now I can see that we are inches away from breaking down the cloud, inches away from breaking through support and tumbling down to the lows of that channel. Now we will expect to see support enter the market at that channel, so I will have to take some profit on my shorts, but I will definitely be looking right now to sell short on crude oil down to 107.32, 106.94, 106.65. All right, I will have to err on the side of caution and use the low of this channel. Right, that will be my runner target for my first trade short. If we keep going lower, now we know we've got the sellers back in control, and we'll be selling short down to 105.75. These are the anchor chart numbers. These are the most important levels of support and resistance. The anchor chart's number one objective, number one goal is to find direction, support, and resistance, right? There's two objectives on this. Find direction and find support and resistance. Right now we can see our direction is down, and we can see that our support, channel low, support, swing lows, support, trigger zones at 105.75. Okay, what about resistance? Resistance is pretty easy. Resistance overhead, 108.82 and 108.93. All right, if we end up bouncing off these lows, we will start buying pullbacks. Right now, the trend is down. I will be looking to sell short. Moving forward here, we go over to a 5-minute chart. The 5-minute chart of crude oil is a very useful chart for us today. We begin by looking at the fact that we are inside the range from yesterday. Right? Remember how we said yesterday that big overnight trading range? Look at how large yesterday's trading range was coming in overnight. And you can see it was a very good prediction of what was to come later on that day, a very wide range yesterday. Today we come in not nearly the same length of the range. And so this leads us to believe here that we may have some relatively narrow ranges here until we get something changing it. What could that something be? I would assume non-farm payrolls at 8:30 would be just what the doctor ordered to get this range to widen out. So we have a funny feeling this narrow range is probably not going to be that narrow very much longer. Unless non-farm payrolls comes out exactly as expected, we can assume we're going to get at least a little bit of a widening range on this. Now, looking at this chart here, again, previous high of day up at 108.82, previous low of day down at 105.31, 32. Those are going to be our big lines in the sand. Above the previous high, I'm bullish. Below the previous low of day, I'm bearish. Inside of this range now, we are free to trade in either direction. Inside of this range, we are free to buy and sell pretty much with the same effectiveness. Now, of course, we've seen a trend develop here, so we can lean on the sell side as being the high percentage right now. But the reality is inside the range from yesterday, we can be two-sided. We can easily buy or sell. I see a trend going lower. I will continue to look to sell short here this morning. 107.07 is our line in the sand using yesterday's ranges. 106.66 will be the low of that range. So as we go lower, we will be looking for lower lows, wave short, lower lows, wave short, lower lows, wave short. Again, taking profit at support levels on the way down. If we happen to bounce here, if we happen to reverse, it's pretty clear here once we start to get some new higher highs here, that long-term trend to the high side, well, we'll have no problem buying here again. All of this might change, though. At 8:30 this morning, we're going to wait patiently here and see exactly what that news looks like. And again, after we get that non-farm payroll report, we should be able to learn a lot more about what the direction is, what the market personality is, and where we're going from there. Looking at my setup chart on crude oil, we can see that we've bounced off that high. we've just changed the trend direction, right? We are bullish going up to the high. Now we've changed the trend direction. Guys, this tells me right away here, the new trend is now bearish. We need to be looking to sell short. Members, look for those wave patterns to get short here. Take your profit off at those support levels we mentioned below. Now that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing a long-term bull channel, but I'm seeing short-term moves down. I'm anxious to hear, though, from Marty, because you know that Marty's going to have a little bit different opinion. I'm hoping that he thinks that maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Marty, what are you seeing over there right now, my man? Happy Friday to you. Happy non-farm payroll Friday. What's the pit looking like ahead of non-farm payrolls?
Non-farm payroll Friday indeed, yes. Good morning, JJ. Well, listen, I think it comes down to the number. I think it's easy to say that we could really kind of sit on hands until we see the number. I really don't think it's, great to go out there and put out calls right before the number, because the thing is people are, coming back from vacation. Ben, for instance, my boss, my buddy, he's coming back from his vacation just for today, because that's how big today is. You know what I mean? It's a big day across the board. So you got a lot of people coming back from their vacation, cutting it short just to come for this event. When your local news covers this, how you see on your local news about the non-farm payrolls. Okay, well, when these guys cover it, it's going to be a big one. So looking across the board right now, it seems like it's the calm before the storm. I'm looking at sideways activity here in the crude RBOB heating oil. Again, I got the sideways arrows up today. Again, we have sideways activity in the crude RBOB and heating oil and across the board here today. We went up and tested highs, and now we're just fading off those highs. As I like to say, fade the high. In the spreads right now, they're all unchanged. Brent WTI spread, again, they're just unchanged. They're sideways. I have absolutely no indication out of those spreads at the moment. Only indication is, yes, we could trade a little bit lower towards that support. I got 107.55. I got that 107.40, and I also have that 107 even and the 106 level, that 40 that JJ was mentioning. So I do have those levels of support down below, and yes, we could trade down to them right now with the higher dollar, with anticipation of the number coming in, right? I got your higher dollar, lower euro, and the rest of our commodity currencies. I got your calendar spreads. Believe it or not, they're looking just a little bearish at the moment. So I guess I can take the green arrows off and show you guys a little bit of a bearish kind of sentiment in the calendar spread. Still, that Brent WTI spread, very powerful spread right now. It's pretty much here sitting, a little unchanged on the day for the most part, in contango by 3 ticks only, so bullish by 3 ticks, and I wouldn't want to judge direction off of a tick. So it's about 166 on the spread right now, unchanged. Taking a quick look over now at your usual suspects that we look at. Again, we talked about the RBOB heating oil. Let me just look at Brent real quickly here, guys. That Brent's still holding levels above 109, which is kind of bullish, but overall fading off the highs of 110.07 that it made earlier this morning. Right? Let's take a look at some charts now. We took a look at our usual suspects here. You can just clearly see that we did fade off the move here from this overnight session and from today, and now we're just kind of fading off that high once again here. So overall, we're looking to fade these highs, right? Come down to that support that we were talking about, down at really 107.55. I got 106, like I was saying, and I got also 107.45. So 107.55, 107.48. So if we get below those levels, then we're definitely going down to 106. 106.48. So again, those are just a couple levels that I'm taking a look at here. Let me show you guys natural gas real quickly. Natural gas yesterday had a nice little inventory build. The build in inventories caused the market to trade lower with outside of the range that we were in all week, right? Look, this was the range that we were in all week, right? It was kind of a very narrow balance area throughout the whole week, right? Then we finally break below it after inventories, and now you can see kind of moving forward, we have now your natural gas just kind of trading a little bit sideways. So when we move forward, you can see we break out of the range to the downside, and now we're rebalancing that range again. So for me, sell those 340s, buy the 335s. That's what I'm thinking of natural gas right now at the moment. We're going to take a look at levels as well, ladies and gentlemen. Again, throughout the day here, we are going to take a quick look at some levels here as well, as we are trying to determine all of our balance areas today. And again, like I mentioned here on the crude, it's basically fading that high, right, down to the 107.55, down to that 107.48 to see if we can break below that. If we do, then we could see 106.40. But really, all hands are in the number. And you have to realize, besides the number, we have personal income and spending. Well, they say outlays, but normal people say spending, I'm sure, right? So we're looking at personal income and spending at 8:30, and that was factory orders at 10 a.m. So I'm focused on the jobs report, of course, and so are every other trader on the trading floor here. So we're going to have to stay focused here on that job report. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick look at your levels here from yesterday, and you can see your high was 108.08. Once again, it's 108.06, sorry, 108.06 was your high. We ended up having a pit session low, ladies and gentlemen, down at that 106.71. Once again, that's 106.71. And your daily pivot, 107.54. Closing settlement number from yesterday's trade was 107.85, which we are actually just trading below at the moment. Again, approaching that daily pivot at the 107.54. Taking a look at some resistance above, I got 108.38, 108.89, and 110.24. Support down below, right, that 107.02, 106.20, and 104.68. Again, we obviously have right here that 107.55 that I was talking about, and we can just add in, I guess, 106.40. Again, important level that I guess I just kind of came up with that we want to keep an eye on. Again, that's 106.40, ladies and gentlemen, 106.40, where we can possibly trade down to. But I don't like to judge before the number because it's the big one, guys, and it really determines on what's going to happen in the number. All right, open interest currently stands 256,213. That's 356,213. Wow, I derped that today. 616 again. So right now, open interest here is kind of just falling just a bit from yesterday's trade. We were up a little bit higher, so indicating some shorts from the market as they fade those highs. Right, open interest here rising as we fading the highs. Also taking a look over at your options here. The 102 put, a lot of interest in there. Again, they're still bearish below that 102 half, but we never approached it. So again, they just about nothing in it. They put like 1,000 lots in it, opposed to the 104, 105, and 106 calls. They all traded over 7,800 times, 7,854 times, again, exactly in the pit yesterday. I had how many 104 calls and 105 calls traded. So upside, obviously, they sure up the upside here. And now as we are at the upside, they're really not sure if we're going to continue to go higher or just grind lower and trade within a range, because the number really that we're watching here for non-farm payroll is going to really tell us what's going to happen throughout the day. And most traders are going to probably be out of here at 10 o'clock too today. You have to keep that in mind. Again, they're going to come in early, trade, get out of here. And that's basically probably what I'm going to be doing anyway. Natural gas, again, we were talking about trading within that range, right? Buying those 335s and selling those 342s. Natural gas pits, or 345s rather, your pit session high yesterday, 345.30, your low, 334.10. So again, simply just buy it and sell that range there. Closing settlement number 338.80, daily pivot 339.40. Resistance that I have up above is going to be 334.10, 350.60, and 361.80. Support down below, I got 333.5, 328.20, and 317 even. Open interest 296,785, which is just about in line from yesterday's open interest, just a little bit higher from the day before's. And we're looking at implied volatility holding steady at 32%, which is nice volatility, so we could see a decent range. And overall in the natural gas, we had about an 11-cent range yesterday, so I'm thinking we could probably have at least a 5-cent range, which is a 50-tick trading range in the natural gas today, as we're probably just going to cut that in half. So not an 11-cent range today, but at least a 5-cent range, right? Trade between those numbers. And within that range, they still show a lot of interest in buying these 340s, so still having it up on the board here, guys, those 340 calls, and they don't like the 355, so I guess they're going to start to establish a new area of value here from 335 up to 345. That's what I'm guessing for the next week they can do. Again, weather will move this market. We have, obviously, some tropical storms brewing out. Doreen, I believe it was, brewing out that may hit the Florida Peninsula, and some natural gas rigs, so that could be a potential market mover. And obviously watch the weather, as temperatures have been cooling down across the whole entire United States, and it's been just having natural gas fall. So that's one thing you really want to keep an eye on. So when we have that falling trend, it's very simple just to keep on selling retracements, because there was a warmer than expected weather, colder than expected weather pattern. So that's really about it for me. Again, overall, I got consensus here on the trading floor. I know sometimes it's different. Overall, my consensus on the trading floor here for those jobs numbers, non-farm payroll month over month, is going to be 176,000. 176,000 is my analyst consensus range, with the rate at 7.5%. Hourly earning is going to be 0.2%, and the average work week, look for 34.5 hours. Anything above that, then that's going to be very interesting to see. And the private payrolls, they have 190,000 here on the board on the exchange. Again, Those are the expectations that we are looking for. If you need them again, I'll repeat them and write them down for you. Other than that, we'll give it back over to JJ here this morning on a Friday. Talking Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm going to throw it back over to JJ.
As always, Marty, thank you so much for being here with us today. And thank you to each and every one of you guys for coming out and joining us here. As always, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we do our morning prep here. As you can see, a very unique and powerful way to begin your day. I'm going to go ahead and update all of Marty's stuff on our blog right now. The charts that I talked about are already up there for you today as well. And I need your help with one thing. I need some feedback from you. What do you like? What do you dislike? What would you like to see added to this broadcast? Would you like to see more, less? What do you think, right? We love your feedback, guys. Shoot us some feedback. My email address is jj@SchoolOfTrade. And don't forget to shoot Marty at Traders Audio. Come out and see me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. in my live trade room at School of Trade. And don't forget to log on and listen in to Marty and his partner Jeffrey over at Traders Audio directly from the NYMEX exchange. Marty, thank you so much. Thank you to the whole team at Traders Audio. Thank you for being here. Have a great weekend, everybody. Summertime Friday, like Marty said, we're going to be here till about 10:30 this morning. After that, you got to be aware of that challenging price action. We're waiting here on the number. We're waiting here on the number. Hope you guys are aware of that. Keep it in mind, and we'll see you guys here on Monday morning. 7:30 a.m. Monday morning. Have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy the summertime weekend, and we'll see you on Monday morning. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.